I'm here with Osama Shenouda, and he and I are here at the Cavalier Hotel in Saskatoon. We're at the 2014 Thermal Process Seminar. It's the second day. We had some time to get together privately here, and just wanted to talk to you a little bit about a recent interview blog that we did with you, where you talked about your career. You talked about Tranter Canada and your role in the company. We want to talk a little bit more of that soon. But one of the questions that you answered was that you always knew that you wanted to be in the heat transfer business from the time that you went to university. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's quite interesting is that during my university career, there was certain courses that I enjoyed more than others, right? And thermodynamics 1 and 2 was a couple of those courses plus the heat transfer course. So I knew at some point that I was going to I was leaning towards that industry, right?
That was your destiny.
That was my destiny, correct? Yeah. And during last year of university, the jobs that I applied for that were within the student union, right? That were posted were, I would say, 7 out of 10 were on heat transfer related.
And your education is in chemical engineering?
Chemical, that is correct.
Okay, great. So there's a good transfer there.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's interesting because to know that earlier on in your career, usually we get out of school and we try to figure out what we want to be when we grow up, but that's quite interesting. So now you're with Tranter Canada. You're the head sales guy and manage that new facility in Edmonton there. Just set up about a little over a year ago now.
Correct. I manage for Tranter, I manage the Canadian business for them, or the sales business of it. Right, we have an operational manager that manages the facility itself.
Oh, I see.
Right, but I manage all the sales across Canada.
In Canada.
Correct.
Quite a strategic move for Tranter to set up a facility. I've been there. It's quite impressive in northern Alberta, probably to take advantage of the activity that's going on there in the industry with the oil sands and so on.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're spot on.
Service has become such an important part of everyone's business now.
Correct. In maintaining efficiency, you have to service, right? So you have to effectively service, right? Effectively maintain the integrity of the efficiency of those performances of those equipments, right? So through service.
These are long-term relationships that you have with your clients.
Yes.
When you set up one of these bigger units, you expect that client to be a customer for a long time, and so the service part of it becomes very important.
That is correct. We pride ourselves in not just selling the equipment and leaving the service for the client itself. No, but we want to take care of the customer and build that customer long-term relationship throughout the life of the heat exchanger. So,
how long do these things usually last? I mean, depending on the unit, I suppose.
Yeah, it depends on the unit, depends on the application, depends on how they service them. They could last between 20 to 30, sometimes even 40 years.
So those are long-term relationships.
That is correct.
Tell me, what's the most satisfying part of your job?
The most satisfying part of my job is solving customers' problems, right? Through providing them with a heat transfer solution that basically gives them peace of mind. Right.
Well, I guess that comes from your training as well, because that's what you're all about as an engineer, is finding the solutions to a problem and making things work.
Correct.
We talk a lot about efficiency, and I imagine, and maybe you can expand on this, that heat transfer technologies have changed, I would imagine, over the recent years. How much of that has to do with becoming more efficient, more environmentally responsible, and meeting those objectives in today's economy as well?
It's huge because the demand of the industry, or of various industries in Canada, is changing, right? And it's becoming more demanding, and manufacturers their technology has to be innovative and has to meet the demand, right? So it has, on the plate technology side, it has changed tremendously from when the first plate came out, right? So, and I only see it getting even more challenging, and I only see the technology even becoming more innovative.
The principles, I guess, haven't changed that much, but the operational efficiencies, other things that come to play to make and it's got to be more competitive as well.
Correct.
You have colleagues that you work with. Martin, who spoke at the seminar today, or yesterday it was, with you together. He's an engineer as well, and his role in the company. Now, many service facilities have a full-time engineer on board just to work on it. Tell me a little bit about the dynamics of the operation that you have there, Martin, Brian, and the others that you work together with there to deliver a real full package.
So I would say that we are the only original manufacturer in Alberta that has manufacturing employees from engineering to a sales to a service, right, covering that territory for Alberta, covering that industry for Alberta.
So you also service competitors'
That is
systems
correct.
as well.
That's
got to be a competitive advantage at some point.
Correct. and in trying, absolutely, and in trying to be efficient, you have to have the engineering response, right? And from efficiency, I'm saying it's not only related to the efficiency of the equipment, but it's also efficiency of the service, the customer service we bring to our clients, right? So having an engineer located strategically,
He's
like
right
myself
there,
and
right.
Martin, we're able to respond, right?
What happened in northern Alberta before this? I mean, we had a lot of this industry around before. Would they have to ship these big units? How did they do it?
A lot of the support came out of Eastern Canada.
Okay, so they have to ship these big machines all the way back to Eastern Canada and ship them back.
Yeah, or there were local customers that took local smaller shops that took care of that service for them, right? So
when you're cleaning one of these things, this is something else that I remember hearing too, is that some of these smaller operations now are really not up to code in terms of their environmental practices, and this has become you had to arrive.
yes, right. So we conform to all standards required by all the big oil companies, right? From Confirm to ISN Networld, we are ISO 9002 compliant, but we're working on our certificate on that from that perspective, and the demands for the oil sands has become larger or more demanding from a safety perspective,
right.
and for you to meet certain standards. Those demands prior were not always
Not as
there
stringent.
as stringent as they are today, right? So
The eyes of the world are on that project up there as well, so they've
correct,
got to behave themselves.
correct,
right?
correct.
And more controls, more.
So their suppliers
demands
have
on-
to do the same,
Exactly.
right? Okay.
So it sounds like you're pretty well positioned there. This is a growing thing now. It's not going away anytime soon.
We hope not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strong strategic move on Tranter's part.
Agreed.
And they're lucky to have a guy like you running things.
Appreciate it, Kim. Thank you.
Thank you for this time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.